First of all, thanks everybody for holding up here. And here I am. It's just presenting my Essence of Southern Spain tour. And, just to me, the meaning of this tour is that after many years of experience, I came to a conclusion that is to develop an experience to solve the barriers that anyone could have when visiting any place. And in this case, of course, I'm referring to my homeland. As Rania well said, I'm being established in Madrid for quite a few years. I don't want to say how many, it gives you the goosebumps. Time flies. But every time I cross the natural border in between the plains of the center of the Iberian Peninsula, which is the map that you see there, it's called as La Mancha, from Don Quixote de la Mancha. There is a range of mountains called the Peñaperros. For some reason, my head turns into the southern mode. I've been outside of Andalusia and I've lost my accent, but for whatever reason, whenever I get there, the moment I step off the bus or the car when I'm traveling, I just get into the southern mode. Is something I cannot help. So as you see there, that is the shape of the Iberian Peninsula. To the south is where I would say the largest region of Spain is, which is Andalusia. I'd say it's the size of Maine. The intention of my tours is first to be small group tours, maximum 10 people, okay? And also it was to be a staycation, meaning that we're sleeping all the time in the same place and then moving around in side trips, one day in, one day out, etc. But because of the size, it is useless to jump into a bus and take 3 hours to get to one place and then 3 hours back in the evening. So I have divided this tour into different states, which are in the city of Granada and then Sevilla, with a little surprise, please. Okay, Al-Andalus, that is the name of the Arabic name of Andalusia. Al means the, it's like an article. And in Arabic, Andalus is a range of mountains in the north of Africa. So Al-Andalus means beyond Andalus, crossing the Mediterranean. We were invaded by the Arabs in the year 711. It took them only just a couple of decades to invade most of the Iberian Peninsula and also part of the southeast of France. Well, little by little, the kingdoms from the northern part of Spain, northwest, they managed to gather together and conquering. I don't like to call them reconquer because it wasn't belonging to a kingdom. It was a conquering back those lands, and then just to keep the Christianism at the time. Religions and politics were playing a very important role at that time in many parts of the world, and of course here in the Iberian Peninsula as well. It took them 800 years to get hold of the last bastion of the Arabs, which were the Kingdom of Granada. Now, when I say the Kingdom of Granada, I don't want to say the city of Granada. Forget about the borders. Borders were totally different. Even today, borders are constantly changing. But in those days, they were moving, maybe at a slower pace, but constantly moving. So in the region of Andalusia, once the Catholic monarchs, they reconquered that in 1492, that is a number that you might remember very well, is that they tried to reconvert everybody into Catholics or Christians. Yes, there is something there called the Spanish Inquisition, which I'm not proud of, but it's part of history. That is what has made us today have a legacy of all that, the sad part and the not so sad part. So what you're seeing now in this screen is once you get off the coastline, you will see all the landscaping like that, oceans of olive trees. And the previous slide was also a gypsy dancing flamenco, a fusion of all the territories that they went through while they were nomads in the north of Africa and they reached the Iberian Peninsula. The Arabs were the who started the massive production of olive oil in Spain, especially in the south. But it was introduced by the Romans. That is another story, which I'm not going to get into it right now. So that is the map that you see right now in here, that you see Granada on the right-hand side, that red circle. We're staying 4 nights. To the far left, you're going to see the city of Sevilla. We're staying 5 nights. But you can see an arrow going like southwest, and we are visiting Malaga. I am from Malaga. As Rainer said, I'm from the south, specifically from Malaga. Malaga is very well known for 3 very important people in this world that you are probably heard of. One of them is the birthplace of Picasso. The other person, the other VIP person, is the very popular and Latin lover Antonio Banderas. Whoa. And you are looking at the third one right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
those are the 3 important people in this world that Malaga is known for. Please, let's go to the next slide, Rainer, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. So as you get to Granada, um, if we are lucky enough, we can see that beautiful sunset. That is a sunset. Actually, when looking at that photo, the sun is setting on the right-hand side, which is the west. And just together, the moment when the lights of the Alhambra are coming up, lighting up little by little, and then the sun is setting, you get those magic colors. I have to tell you, that photo, I took that photo and it has no filters. Seriously. So if we're lucky, we are going to see that one from the outside the day we arrive. Because I'm going to take you on foot to a restaurant with a spectacular view. I mean, unbeatable. So the day after is when we visit the Alhambra. This is the most, I would say, photographed piece of the palaces of the Alhambra. The Alhambra is a complex of several palaces made along the years of Arabic domination. Of course, you will have your local experts guiding us inside, and this is called the Patio of the Lions. It took me, seriously, 20 minutes to take that photo. And even though you can see there is some people on the left-hand side. So when you like photography and you are a kind of aficionado and you want the perfect photo, you cannot tell the people, you're gonna shout at them, hey, move away, I'm gonna take my photo, because everybody's there for the same purpose. So I just stand by a calm there with my phone ready, and I took several photos, and out of them, I chose that one, which I'm very proud of. Please, let's go to the next slide. There you go. Following day. Following day is when we visit the Alpujarras. Remember earlier that I told you that 10, well, let's say 8 miles, let's put it in imperial, okay? 8 miles off the coastline going inland, you will see oceans of olive trees, olive groves everywhere. But there is a kind of a microclimate in the region of Granada down to the south by the water, which is the only semi-tropical area in Europe. In fact, many tropical fruits are grown up there. And that area, part of it, there is a big chunk of land among the mountains called Alpujarras. Again, another word beginning with A-L, Arabic domination. Remember, 800 years, that left a big imprint in our genetics, in our lifestyle, in our culture, and also in our language. Alpujarras literally means the green land. Why is the green land there in the south of Spain? Well, let me tell you. The original Sierra Nevada mountains, for those who are familiar with California, are in the south of Spain. Many of the places in the southern states in the United States, especially also in the Southwest, they're named after places that either whoever was in charge of going into that land centuries ago reminded them for where they were coming from. So the Sierra Nevada mountains in California, they were named after the Sierra Nevada mountains in Granada. That, by the way, the highest peak of the Iberian Peninsula is there. almost just a little bit above 11,000 feet high, and it's the biggest ski resort. So after the Alpujarras, obviously we go back to Granada. We spend another day in Granada. We will try the local delicacy, and then on the day we are moving from Granada to Sevilla, obviously I have to take you to my homeland, and that is a photo that I believe is beautiful. That is Malaga from the Arabic castle view, and you can see the harbor over there is touching the water. You can see the one tower cathedral, and of course, by all means, we're going to have a stroll. We're going to have also our local expert over there together with me. We both are going to interact. This is a photo taken from what we call the park. It's like a kind of a boulevard with traffic in the middle, but very thick sides with trees from many parts of the world. And that lighthouse that you see there is the only lighthouse in Spain with a feminine name. You know that in Spanish, we do have feminine and masculine. English is mostly neutral. Okay, if I talk to you and you are a lady, I don't need to say anything else. I'm talking to you. If you're talking to you and I'm talking to you and you are a man, you are a man, I'm talking to you. But if we define the feminine and masculine, that is the only lighthouse with a feminine name called La Farola, the lighthouse. As simple as that. Please go ahead. We are going to make a stroll around the city center. That is a statue of the Marquis of Larios, which has a very important role in the developing of the city of Malaga. I have to tell you one thing before we continue. That's another emblematic building that you see. That before we continue, let me tell you one thing very important that Malaga played in the final steps of the Muslim domination in Spain. One of the ways to isolate the population is to, obviously, if it's facing the water, obviously, is to make the borders stronger with, a lot of soldiers and sieging the places constantly, etc., etc. But Malaga was part of the Kingdom of Granada, and it was the only seaport that the Arabic people living in those days, still Kingdom of Granada, they had supplies coming from the north of Africa. So the conquer of Malaga was crucial for the Catholic monarchs, and it has developed a fusion of many cultures because not only the Arabs, when the Catholic monarchs, also the Greeks, the Phoenicians, the Romans, then the Arabs, and nowadays it's now a very important harbor. So please, if you don't mind, we're going to try the delicacies. Obviously, seafood is one of the main things to eat in the city of Malaga. You can see the mixed assorted fried fish with a cold beer, of course, and the omnipresent Serrano ham, Iberian ham. My Italian friends here, please forgive me for saying this. Iberian ham is the best in the whole world. In the whole world. And if you try that, you're gonna say, "Oh, Jorge, now I have a dilemma." Anyway, so that was the day that we're moving from Granada to Sevilla, and now you are looking at that tower, which is the tower of the big mosque that used to be in that place. Now, the grounds of the big mosque, it was demolished completely, except the tower, is where the excuse me, is where the grounds of the cathedral is, which is the largest Gothic cathedral in the whole world. Also included in the visit of Sevilla, you have the Royal Palace, the Alcázar, another Arabic word, Alcázar. Alcázar means the palace slash fortress slash royal residency. Especially that photo, that's the one I chose for this presentation because that is shown many times in the program, the show Games of Thrones. And anyway, if you just want to continue and you're not yet tired of me with the tour, we're going to make a couple of side trips where we are in Sevilla. This is one of, under my opinion, one of the most fantastic buildings in the whole world. This was the second largest mosque in the 12th century in the world after Damascus. What happened was when the Catholic monarchs they were conquering land, going forward to the south of Spain, Isabel, you know, the ruler of the couple, let's put it that way, the diplomat of the couple, when she saw that beauty, she said, I mean, this is going to be a crime to demolish this. Okay, what can we do to reconvert this into a Christian site? So with the time, they demolished part of it in the center, and it's kind of amazing to find that that has more than 1,000 arches, more than 1,000 columns, of course, and then in the center, suddenly you see a Catholic church. Is UNESCO World Site, of course, by the way, and that is a side trip from Sevilla to Cordoba. Then we go back to Sevilla. We stay there another day doing some other things, whatever. I mean, there's gonna be little surprises here and there. I might tell you, okay, let's go to this place and try our delicacy. But this other city that you see in that slide is the city of Cadiz. Nowadays spelled Cadiz. In the old days, it used to be Gadir, Gadir. Believe it or not, is the oldest city in continental Europe. It was founded by the Phoenicians more than 2,800 years ago. You know, the Phoenicians, they were located where today more or less is Lebanon, the area, and they dared to cross the entire Mediterranean Sea towards the Strait of Gibraltar, and they passed. And thank you, Rainer, because I was about to tell you, please, let's show the Iberian ham. There you have that color. My mouth is watering right now. Sorry, guys. And well, there you are. That's the way to present it. Listen, guys, if you want to know more about this tour specifically, thank you, Rainer, for mentioning earlier about my podcast, which is called Spanish Loops, and I do it with my colleague Francisco over there. That we are in that photo, and just at the head of the photo, you can see if you Google Spanish Loops podcast, you're gonna go directly into it. It's in any platform. Amazon, is in Apple Podcasts, is in Spotify, etc., etc. But if you go to season 1, episode 15, that episode is dedicated specifically, step by step, about this tour that we are talking about right now. Okay, so just saying that together with that photo that you see, you can see my cap, and I'm wearing the same T-shirt that I have in that photo. So this is a little bit of merchandising. And also you can see here in this other slide that you want to get in touch with me. There you have my guided by and also my personal webpage, and the Essence of Southern Spain, which is going to be one running very soon in the early June, as you see there. And there is one already scheduled for March next year, 2025. Well, all I have to say now is thank you, everybody, for listening, for your attention. And who knows, we might see in the real life one of these days. And if you do, you're going to have one of these and one of those. Thank you, chicos.